The NFL Combine is back, and the annual obsessions begin. Hand size, arm length. We know the drill here, but it's more than just the measurements because, when you think about it, you do have the prospects who are working out. Front offices are negotiating franchise tags. The Cowboys looking at George Pickens, mapping out free agency, laying the groundwork for trades, the draft. So you get 32 teams represented under one roof in Indianapolis, and the fixation will be the following: quarterbacks, because you don't have a good rookie class coming in. You might have two. You got one marquee, and you might have another one in Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson. But other than that, now you start to talk about, well, what about Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins, Tua Tagovailoa? Geno Smith. There's a lot of different quarterback names that are being thrown around. And recent history has probably softened the stigma of the reclamation project because Sam Darnold won a Super Bowl. Baker Mayfield reinvented his career. Joe Flacco turned back the clock. So no longer a punchline. It's actually a necessity for some of these teams. And I think the question is, who's going where? And how many teams are going to say, you know what, let's wait. Let's be patient here. Or do you try to solve your quarterbacking problems? Like Atlanta. I keep hearing Atlanta is kind of in the mix for a quarterback. Now, they have Michael Penix Jr., but where's Kirk Cousins going? Does he go back to Minnesota? Are the Vikings all in on J.J. McCarthy? What's Aaron Rodgers going to do? I still think Aaron Rodgers in Minnesota makes a lot of sense because I thought that was going to happen in the offseason. Now, you're reunited with Mike McCarthy, maybe reunited, not the best word to use with their relationship, but it's 1 year. And I thought Aaron Rodgers played well enough. Are you going to be competing for a Super Bowl? Not this next year. But, don't do anything crazy at the quarterbacking position unless you feel like, okay, we got somebody here. We know that Fernando Mendoza is going number 1 overall, but then after that, we're not quite sure. You might not have a quarterback taken in the first round after that. And if you do, it might be a team that reaches a little bit. And maybe it's the Steelers who do that and, sit him behind Aaron Rodgers for a year. But just getting everybody together, like who's taking a chance on Tua? I don't know how much he's going to cost you since, Dolphins are on the hook for $99 million. What's Miami doing here? Is Quinn Ewers going to be a Band-Aid quarterback? Are you going to see what he can do? So there's so many different questions here at that position, and I think that's what's going to be interesting. Here's something that, and it's not a report, all it is conversation, and it's Lamar Jackson. Are you going to sign him up for the long haul? Do you want him to be your quarterback? Would you consider trading Lamar Jackson? Now, once again, this is just conversation, and maybe it's because this time of the year there's not much going on, so you start to throw out things, speculate on things. What about, they could do this. Now, there's no reporting on this, but I'm curious. You do have a new coach coming in, offensive coordinator. They made it clear that they want Lamar Jackson to be in Baltimore in the offseason, helping with this team. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame. The question is he going to be a Baltimore Raven his entire career? But it's nothing more than just conversation of people saying, what if that would happen? Yeah, Paulie.
I just saw an article last night. You're talking about quarterbacks and the demand. Malik Willis was listed as the number 1 free agent of the entire offseason by NFL Network yesterday. 27 years old, friendly contract. Chris Sims said the other day he could be in high demand.
Yeah, but I think he's going to cost you a lot more money.
Like 3 years, 100?
Well, now he's a free agent.
Yeah.
So it's not a friendly contract. He's going to negotiate. Well, maybe it's a Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold contract. As we usually throw out 3 years, $100 million or something. But I agree. I think that he would be an ideal quarterback in a couple of different places. I think he's one of those, hey, let's see what you can do. Oh, yeah, he didn't perform. Okay, we move on. And I think that he's got a lot of talent. And when he played with the Packers in for Jordan Love, they didn't miss anything, in my opinion. I thought he played really, really well. He can do what you want with today's quarterback. But, you're there. It's the combine. We kind of poke fun at it. But, I will tell you this, as one of my sources always tells me, who goes to the combine, he's a scout. It's your chance to get in person with these players. Are you really 6'3"? No, you're 6'1.5". Hand size, it does matter at certain positions, which it should. Now, why is it that we don't measure hand size when it comes to the NBA? Because everybody handles the basketball. I would have thought that we would have measurables there for players coming in. I'd be very curious. I'd be very curious how quick you are. Not fast, how quick you are. How quick do you jump? Now, we don't get caught up in a combine for the NBA. I know they get rookies usually in Chicago. They've done that for years. But those are things I'd be curious about. If you've ever been around somebody who can jump or somebody who can quick jump, ooh, man, there's a big difference. Quick jumpers, that's trouble. That's trouble when they're guarding you. But also, hand size, I would think, that would be important. And also, how quick you are from A to B. And it's only, could be 5 feet, 3 feet. Yeah, Paulie.
I went back a little bit and looked at NBA.com, and they do have a list going back to 2006, 2007. It's not exactly their version of a combine, but they do medicals on players, and it has hand length, height, standing reach, weight, wingspan for almost every player, including, I looked back, I found Kawhi Leonard's official hand size, width, they called it, 11.25 inches. This was 2011.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's grown since then. Not sure of that.
But you get quarterbacks in a room where you can ask them questions. You can pick up on their personality. You can pick up on their football IQ. You can put them in front of a chalkboard and say, diagram this play. You can play something back to them and say, what happened? Or what would you do on that? There's just all kinds of things that you can do that you can glean information where it's not just how fast you run the 40. Because a lot of, these players, like Fernando Mendoza, I wouldn't throw at the combine. I would just go and interview. I don't think I need to show you anything. I know what happens when the game is on and you're playing. That's the most important thing. But, there is no second quarterback that you go, well, it's Ryan Leaf, Peyton Manning. It's not that. It's Fernando Mendoza. Go in, be personable. It's in your backyard in Indiana, and have some fun with this. Let the other players have the showcase, run the 40, whatever you're going to do with strength, bench pressing, all of that. But his will be getting in front of these teams. Now, I don't know if he's going to interview with other teams. I don't know how that works. If you go to the combine, does everybody get to talk to you? Because if I'm Fernando Mendoza and if I'm the Raiders, I'm like, hey, that's our guy. Even though you're on the clock, you can't take him yet. But I would be saying, I don't want him sharing anything. Yes, Marvin.
Doing those drills at the combine, is that more so for the smaller school guys? Now, if you go to Alabama or Ohio State, you guys have seen me for 13 weeks for the past 2 years. So you know what I do. If you go to Northern Illinois or Central Michigan, that's who it's for, right?
The combine is for the player who is not necessarily known. He gets that opportunity. And sometimes you'll get somebody who will reinforce just how good they are. Somebody's going to get out there and go, I'll run the 40. And then you might run it better than, previously. Or how many reps bench pressing, which I never really understood. Like Kevin Durant, I don't even think he could do bench 180 pounds. Does that sound about right, Marvin?
It was. People were making a big deal. It's like, you know how much a ball weighs?
Yeah.
Not 185 pounds.
All I need to know is, can you shoot? Can you get your shot off? Yeah, Paulie.
Fernando Mendoza was reported yesterday will not throw at the combine like you said, but he will throw at Indiana's Pro Day, April 1st at Mellencamp Pavilion in Bloomington.
Yeah, well, that'll be for his teammates,
yes,
for them to get a chance to be under the watchful eye of these NFL scouts.